In this ticket how-to, we will cover connecting an Office 365 mailbox to turn all emails received by the connected mailbox into new tickets and ticket, how to update the custom response from the email connector when a ticket is created, and how to enable actionable messages to allow your users to view ticket details and update replies to their tickets directly from Outlook instead of having to go to Teams. So first off, we'll go to the email connector settings page in the web app by selecting the gear in the top right and then selecting email connector. And then once in the email connector settings page, we will select connect mailbox to prompt a sign in to the mailbox we would like to connect. So we're going to sign into that mailbox. And then once signed in, we will be prompted here to log in back to Ticket. We can either wait and automatically be redirected or just click login to be redirected back to the email connector page. We'll be prompted now that we've logged in as another account to choose the user we're logging in. And we're going to be choosing our regular Ticket user and not that connected mailbox. Okay, so now that we are once again in the email connector settings page, we see that the email mailbox has been connected. We have the option to disconnect, and we have a couple additional fields. The first field here is response message. So that is the message that the user sees on a ticket being created by the connector. So it'll respond back with an email saying the ticket has been received and will be tracked and have some information to direct them to HelpBot, the virtual agent in Teams, and some useful tidbits for them. So you can update this message to include other links for if you have a KV, a FAQ, or if you have additional links you find might be useful when submitting tickets through this system. You can also add branding to it. It supports drop down here, markdown actually here for adding bold text, italics, strike through. You can change the different formats for the text, whether you want to, if you include some headers, just to include more details and make your response to those tickets more stylized, more customized to your organization. You can also include links like we have here for the different HelpBot links, so you can create a new link. You can add some emojis if you like, and you can also include images. And with images, what you'll need to do is you will have to either have those hosted in the World Wide Web, so on the overall internet, or in your SharePoint site, host it there and share it to users to give them access. Okay, so that covers the connecting mailbox and setting a custom response message. So now that we've done this, what does it look like on the end user's side? So we're going to go to the Outlook web app and we're going to send an email to our connected mailbox as that end user and see what it looks like. Okay, so now that we're in Outlook, let's go ahead and send an email to that connected mailbox. Okay, now that we've sent the email, we'll be waiting for a response from the ticket connector with that response message we sent. Okay, we have now received a response from the kitchen mailbox. So if we open up that email, we see here's our initial email to HelpBot, then here's the response. So we see that it matches that response message field that we previously went over. So we see the request has been received and will be tracked. So if we go back to the email connector settings, we see it matches exactly. Now that we've covered just the basic connection and the response message, we can cover actionable messages. So actionable messages turns that basic email response into an adaptive card. And what that means is that the end user will be able to see ticket details just like they would if they were going through the HelpBot app in Teams. Or if they want to add in new replies, they can do it automatically from Outlook versus having to go to Teams and talking to HelpBot to add their comments. So we're going to enable actionable messages. And then we see that there is a new field that appears below. So with actionable messages, with that connection, you can use either our default provider, which means that the email will be sent by the do not reply at ticket.ai mailbox, or you can use your own custom provider to send the email from your organization's email address versus the external one with ticket. So by default, if you just leave the enter provider ID field blank, it'll just be sent from do not reply at ticket.ai. If you'd like to see more information, we do have a set of KBs for going through and adding a new provider within your Active Directory environment and having an Exchange admin go through and approve that for your organization, or if you just want to go through and test with a few users that use state. Now that we have enabled natural messages, let's save to save our changes. And now let's test this email sent to the connected mailbox as an end user and see what it looks like when we want to get actionable messages back. So we're going to swap back over to Outlook. And once in Outlook, we're going to send an email again to that connected mailbox. And send. Okay, so now that we've sent the email to HelpBot again, we'll be waiting to receive a notification back that the ticket has been created and that we will see both that custom response that we set as well as the surrounding actionable messages. Okay, here we are. We've now received a response from Ticket. We see that's been sent by the do not reply email for the provider. And we see that we have our response that we've set in the ticket settings, and it's surrounded by this card, which has the ticket details, like showing the ticket status, ticket ID, the request, their first comment, which is when an email is sent to a connector, the subject of the email is the request, and the body of the email is added in as a new comment below. And so we see that we have our ticket details here. We can add a new comment by adding it directly here from Outlook and then hitting send. And then we'll see that the comment has been submitted, and in a moment, once the comment has been added on the ticket side, we'll receive both a notification from the email connector that the comment has been added, and if we come back to this email in a moment, we'll see that it's been updated as well. So if we swap to the new email that just came in, we see we have a comment added notification that's been sent to you. Here is our new comment added to the ticket. And then if we take a look at the previous email and give it a moment to load, we see that's been updated. So these cards are adaptive cards and dynamic, which means that as an analyst or the user add comments and details are changed in the ticket, when they come back to this email, that card will be updated and they'll have the latest information for their request. Okay, so now that we've tested with an actual message setup with the default provider, we'll show what it looks like when we're doing a custom provider. So I have added a custom provider for my environment here, and with that I'll have a GUID, which is the provider ID I'm going to set. Okay, so once the provider ID is set, we're going to save. And now, instead of using that do not reply address, we'll use the email address I set in my custom provider. Okay, so once back in Outlook, we're going to send another email to that connected mailbox. Okay, we're going to send. And now we'll receive a reply from the connected mailbox with the provider set instead of do not reply. Okay, here we are. This is an indication that the request has been received. So all the body of the email looks the same, but if you take a look here for the sender, we see that it's being sent by HelpBot, which is an email on our domain, and that's the same connected mailbox. When you set up a provider, you can use the same email that you're connecting to with the input. So like when the email connector is connected to that mailbox, the emails coming in will be created tickets, and you can set that same email for your provider to kind of give a single pane that the user's seeing. So it's kind of a best practice. You don't have to use that exact same email. You can have a do not reply at your domain for like a shared mailbox that's set up for just the provider that it isn't monitored, and it's just used to provide this functionality. So, okay, we have now covered connecting a mailbox in the email connector. Let's do disconnect if you need to. the response message for updating and branding or providing some functionality to your users, some customization there, and enabling actionable messages to provide more useful information at hand and the ability to reply and see details live for your users. And on top of the provider ID to allow your users to see not from the do not reply a ticket, but from a custom email on your domain. All right, that covers the email connector. If you'd like to know more information about the provider ID, please see the description of this video for a link to our Help KB with steps on setting up a custom provider for either test users, your organization, or if you'd like to, setting up a global provider for everyone on the internet versus just those in your organization.